Hello, Chef Marcus Guiliano here, your chef on a mission. Welcome to Chef on a Mission Radio, episode number 72. Today, we're going to talk about seafood certifications. Seafood certifications, as in sustainable seafood certifications. There's many organizations out there that give their nod to fisheries if they are sustainable, if they're good to eat, not good to eat, best, better choices, worst choices, avoid it, eat it, one of those things. There are many out there. If you go to fishchoice.com, F-I-S-H choice, C-H-O-I-C-E, fishchoice.com, they round up a bunch of different ones that are out there and will help you make a great decision. However, they're not going to tell you how legitimate each one of them is. So that's more of your job or my job to figure out which ones are not quite up to snuff, or what exactly some of the actual what do I want to say? Some of the actual technicalities. Like, for example, Monterey Bay Aquarium is the leader in this. They were the ones who created this Seafood Safe program, or Seafood Watch program many years ago in the 90s or so, that will help consumers eat better seafood. Well, they have one particular fish that I'm not a fan of, that they've given a great rating to because on a technicality, it's farm salmon, and it's farm salmon from Chile from a company called Verlasso. And Verlasso, instead of going out and using wild harvested fish, they genetically grow a fungus as a protein source. So they're giving a genetically modified grown fungus as a protein instead of the wild fish. So I don't think that a genetically modified fungus might not be the best choice, and maybe they've done a ton of research, and maybe it is. However, they're not getting it because of this innovative mushroom technology, genetically modified mushroom technology. They're getting it because they're not robbing the ocean of other seafood. So at that point, you could probably feed it cow manure and it would probably get the same rating or the same nod, because you're not harvesting fish from the ocean and creating a deficit. So see, that's the one technicality that I don't like about that. And like I said, maybe it is the right thing that they're doing. I don't know enough information to really say, oh, genetically modified fungus, but it raises a major red flag for me as a chef and somebody who cares. Raises a major red flag, and it should for you too, if that they're giving that a fungus, a genetically modified fungus. So now let's head over to Scotland, where the fish farms are in Scotland. Aquaculture Stewardship Council, ASC, they have been getting a lot of flack, a lot of heat from Don Staniford. Don Staniford's been on our YouTube channel and a friend of ours out there doing the right thing and standing up to these massive salmon farms that are destroying the environment. So Don has a great blog to post tons of information. By the way, folks, Don is actually there in these communities where the salmon farms are actually destroying the communities, the environment, right in front of his own eyes. So it doesn't matter what kind of certifications these companies have. Don's like, that's not the case, folks. Here's the real story. And here's the real story on ASC. The mass mortalities at ASC certified Maui, M-O-W-I, Maui. Maui is a large salmon farm operator in Scotland, and I believe they're in other places as well. Most of these companies that you find, these larger companies, will not only have more than one home. So they might be in Scotland, they might be in Norway, they might be in Canada, they might be in Chile, they might be in in Australia or something. So they have more than one home typically. Just because they like to go into anywhere that they can manipulate the government and get away with things. So that's how they do that. So now, Don's one of his latest blog posts here in December 2020 exposed certification of responsibly farmed Maui, Scotland Ltd. That's their Twitter handle, via the Aquaculture Stewardship Council, ASC, Aqua, permits mortality rates at salmon farms in excess of 36%, not to mention the use of cancer-causing chemicals and antibiotics. Folks, we're talking right now in that small blurb right there, what Don is claiming, that the mortality rate at Maui, one of Maui's salmon farms, is 36%, and the Aquaculture Stewardship Council is endorsing this farm as a sustainable, better practices, whatever they want to call it, farm, as something that, hey, this is okay to eat. Folks, if 36% of every 100 salmon are dying in a farm, that salmon farm is extremely toxic and something's wrong with it. If 20 are dying in the farm, it's normal. It's still toxic. It's still, a cesspool. If just 20 out of every 100 are dying, but that's the reality, folks. Is there's no right way to do the wrong thing, according to Alexandra Morton, a marine biologist from British Columbia. She has said that very well for many years. There's no right way to do the wrong thing. So when a chef comes to me or somebody comes to me and a salesman says, "Oh, I have a sustainable farmed salmon," I'm like, there's no right way to do the wrong thing. You gotta, do you really know what's going on? Are you under the water? Are you looking at the fish? Like, are you seeing their health? Like what, like, oh no, this is this rating and this and this and this and this. And a lot of that is all just marketing, folks. It's all marketing. And sometimes these stewardship councils, right? These groups are actually formed by the companies that they are they're formed by these companies that they're actually giving ratings to. You've seen those like on TV, the Chrysler 5-star rating from this and this. That was Chrysler's own organization that they formed to give themselves 5 stars. I belonged to a group one time that formed their own restaurant organization, and anybody who paid a fee to be a part of this group got a nice plaque, award-winning restaurant, compliments of, or rated by best independent restaurants. This some off-the-wall small organization that was formed by the company I was paying money to be a part of this group. And the certification looks nice, the plaque they sent me looks nice, but in reality, I knew what it was the whole time. It was like you pay to be part of this group, and I wasn't paying to get my certification from this group or to get an award. I wasn't paying at all to do that. I was paying to do other things and learn other things and help with our marketing. But as a gesture, oh, you have one of the best rated gourmet restaurants in North America, according to the Best Independent Restaurant Association of America, which is some organization that they formed themselves, right? So it wasn't like it was what I feel to be like Zagat or something else. It wasn't really legitimate. So, all right. So back to Don here. Don sends a letter to Chris Nines. Chris Nines is the CEO of Scotland Maui. And here's his letter to him. December 2020, the CEO of ASC, Chris Nines, is copied in here, ruled out ACS certification on salmon farms with more than 10% mortality. So right now, to get Aquaculture Stewardship Council certified, you cannot have more than 10% mortality. Not more than 10 fish can die per 100 on the farm. Now, folks, that's 10 fish. 10% of the fish are still dying, and that's the standard to give them their gold seal of approval, that the fish farms are still toxic enough to kill 10 fish out of every 100. Imagine if you drove by a beef farm, a ranch, and 10 out of every 100 cattle drop dead out there, and they're just sitting out there dead in this filth and disgusting. And the certification is, well, this is our gold seal, folks. This ranch, this beef ranch here is doing a fantastic job. They are raising pristine cattle on open grass, this, but only 10 out of every 100 die because it's so toxic and wrong. That's basically what's happening with the salmon, folks. But you can't see the salmon farms, unlike you could beef farms. But if you saw that in front of your own eyes happening, you'd be like, this is a scam. This is a joke. These people are criminals. They just think they're marketers, right? They think they're marketers. They don't really consider themselves criminals. They think themselves as marketing geniuses, right? Form an organization, this, so on salmon farms with more than 10% mortality, Chris's policy pledge on BBC British broadcast country file is online, and he puts a link to it here. I'm actually going to play a quick clip from this. If the ASC, Agriculture Stewardship, is maintaining a policy of not certifying salmon farms with a mortality rate of over 10%, then surely it would rule out Maui's ASC certified sites at Harport, Rum, Marlog Bay, and Starlog. These are all Scottish names. I don't know how to pronounce, of course. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 locations. Maui has 8 locations that are either certified or being certified that have excessive rates of over 10% mortality that the ASC is coming in and giving their gold seal of approval on these Scottish salmon farms. And folks, this happens in Norway, this happens in Faroe Islands, this happens in Canada, this happens everywhere. So we're just not picking on Scotland here. I'm just using Don Standiford's own work because he's really focused on Scotland because that's where he's from. And here Don publishes them. We're here. There's mortality data published by Salmon Scotland, and he sends a link here, which blows out of the water the ASCS certification for a raft of Maui salmon farms due to mortality rates well above 10%. So it's documented by the government, by Salmon Scotland, by the government. The mortality rates are published, and go on and look at this. salmonscotland.co.uk/reports will bring you to the mortality rates of all these salmon farms. And on the official government records, these have more than 10%. But yet they're getting the gold seal from the ASC, and their policy has to be under 10%, right? 10% or under. Moreover, recently, the mortality rate in October 2021 at Calas and Calas Dias West, Calas Dias East, Grenham, and Grey Horse raised red flags. Cumulative mortality data will not be available until harvest suggests well above. So here's four more places that it's well above, that it's not official yet, but the cumulative data is going to say it's above that 10% threshold. And now he's asking for more locations here. So Don is just hammering the CEO here of ASC, Atlantic Stewardship Council. Data disclosed by the Scottish Environmental Protection Agency reveals a huge doses of, now here's what they say. Don is asking, why was this due to, okay, so now here we go. Finally, what's the ASC's policy on antibiotics? This is a very common marketing tactic that these farms use. They use a lot of times that they don't use antibiotics. And folks, that is virtually impossible. If you have fish dying at 10 per 100, you're administering something. You're administering something that is that's, you have to administer something, right? Whether it's an antibiotic, whether it's something, whether you're administering something. So finally, what's the ASC policy on antibiotics? Data disclosed by the Scottish Environmental Protection Agency reveals huge doses of florfenicol, I don't know how to pronounce that again, by Maui at Loch Deutsch, another site under initial audit by ASC, Ardgore in Loch Lenny, a site already certified by ASC, and the use of oxytetracycline by Maui salmon farms at Ardgore in Loch Tenny, Camusglass, Invasion Bay, McLean's Maui sites under initial audit, and Maui's Gorstein salmon farms already ASC certified. So the Scottish EPA is saying, hey, you've got antibiotics at these farms. Here you go. What is the policy? Don's saying, hey, it's printed here with the Salmon Scottish EPA. These farms are using antibiotics. What is the policy for the Aquaculture Stewardship Council on antibiotics? Because we already know that they're going to say that they say no antibiotics, right? So that's part of what this is. You can't use antibiotics. So Don says a swift reply would be much appreciated. Thanks, Don Standiford, Director of Scottish Salmon Watch. I'm going to play a little clip here from Chris Nines, the CEO of Aquaculture Stewardship Council, on BBC County File. Hammer the nail in the coffin. So let's see what we got here.
Who are pushing for higher standards. A small number of farms are certified by the Aquaculture Stewardship Council, or ASC for short, an organization that encourages responsible practices throughout the aquaculture industry. I'm meeting CEO Chris Nines, who says they're hopeful more farms will soon follow suit. So Chris, what would a salmon farm have to do to get ASC certification?
Well, they have to meet the most rigorous standards in the world, for one. It's a long checklist of requirements.
So mortality, what would you like to see it at or below?
Less than 10%.
Less than 10%. And what about sea lice?
Well, during the sensitive period, which is when young salmon are migrating out to sea, there's a requirement of only 1 lice per 10 fish.
Wow, that is low.
Yep.
and escaped? I mean, this farm that lost 50,000 farm salmon, would that be able to get your certification?
No, those catastrophic events would not lead to certification.
So, Chris, why?
There we go, folks. Admitting that they have lice on the farms. Lice is something that's a very that you cannot get rid of. You have to spray a chemical called slice or douse the water with a chemical called slice. And he said in a very delicate age, that's when the baby salmon are swimming past that have just spawned. Because what happens is when lice attach themselves to the baby salmon, they are 100% goners. They attach themselves to these babies and just they kill these baby salmons to fry. They just can't survive. So to get to a point of one louse slice per every 10 fish, you're spraying a lot of chemicals. I wish he would have actually asked him, how does a salmon farm actually get to such a low level of lice? Because that would have been a very interesting question from him. So, and then Don goes on and on. There's so much Don posts. Don's posts all the time. 77% of Scottish farms fail to meet ASC standard certification. That's almost 4 out of every 5 sea sites exceed 10% mortality. That means 4 out of every 5 farms that are certified with this gold seal stamp approval from ASC are not meeting the standards. Of course, I don't know the fee to get into the ASC, but I'm assuming that it's a hefty fee. I do know that some of these certification groups charge these farms upwards of $250,000 a year. So if you're paying $250,000 a year or $50,000 a year, whatever you're paying to be part of a certification, they're going to take your money and they're going to work with you to make sure that the organization can keep going. It's at this point it's a job for this organization. An ASC probably is a private organization. I don't think it's a public or a true nonprofit government organization or it's probably just. And there's a lot of private groups that do this, folks. A lot of private groups are out there doing this. Even all kinds of other certifications for anything. They're privately held. It's a for-profit business. They run it as a for-profit business model. So they run a balance sheet and they run a profit. They're paying somebody big bucks to run it. The owner, the founder, the CEO, whoever, and it is a business. These rating systems. So Don goes on and on here with a lot of his tweets. Don's very active on Twitter. Don, he's at the GAAIA on Twitter. Don Staniford. You can catch a lot of his stuff, and we'll get him back on here soon. Him and I shoot an email back and forth every now and then. He actually sends me a lot of information and updates of what's happening so we can convey it to our guests and educate people. So that's the story with that, folks. Salmon farms, salmon certifications on the salmon farms can be a bit of a disaster. So thank you everybody for tuning in. This episode is brought to you by, of course, my restaurant, Aroma Time Bistro, up in Ellenville, New York, 165 Canal Street. Aroma Time, THYME, Bistro, BISTRO. And you can come check us out. Check us out on Instagram, on Facebook, in person, of course, is the best to come say hello. And if you ever want to travel to wine country, VIP Winery Vacations, VIPWineryVacations.com. Get red carpet tours of wineries all throughout Italy, New York, and now Baja, Mexico. With me and Jamie, we will take you to our friends' wineries. They'll roll out the red carpet, and lifetime memories are not optional. We have some very, very exciting things coming up, especially our trip to Baja, Mexico, coming up in April of 2022. Check that out, VIPWineryVacations.com. Click the Mexican link, visit Mexico with us, and it'll take you to our best Mexican wine tour site, where I have day by day of the tour, lots of photos. Jamie and I have been down there twice. We scouted it out. We made sure that everything is okay. We checked out all the hotels, checked out all the restaurants, the food, the wine, the people, the communities, checked out everything. It is extremely safe down there, very safe there, geared towards tourism. You are with us throughout the whole tour. We take you to the hottest spots in Valle de Guadalupe. Valle de Guadalupe is the Napa Valley of Mexico. They don't like to be called the Napa Valley of Mexico, but they are the Napa of Mexico. They are the ones that are if you like wine, they're going to show you an amazing time. They're great hosts, restaurants, the food. It's the best. Folks, the Valle de Guadalupe is the best of all of Mexico when it comes to wine, hotels, service, and food. It is hands down the best of what's happening in Mexico. They got it going on. Ensenada, through the valley, and all around there. It's amazing. So join us. Check that out, VIPWineryVacations.com. And folks, thanks for tuning in. Please share this podcast with another chef, with people who like to cook, especially people who like to eat salmon, but especially chefs who think that they're buying salmon from a certified sustainable source, because that's typically not the case. Thanks for tuning in. Download this, share it, and we'll talk to you later.